There's nothing going on for you guys today, I understand. Signing day. Introduction to Tom Allen, is that later today?
That's later today.
Oh, got a lot going on.
So good afternoon, everyone. Make sure you turn your cell phones to vibrate, off, or mute. Yeah, including you over there.
I know.
And then we'll start with an opening statement from Pat.
I know. I'm going to steal something from my man, James. I'm going to give you a couple bullets before. No, it's good. I appreciate you all coming. I do, jokes aside, I know you got a lot going on. Big day in the college football space with signing day, and I'm excited for you all to get a chance to talk to Tom Allen, which we're all excited for him to be joining the family. I'm going to just go through a couple things just because we've been so busy over the semester since I last saw most of you in Indianapolis. But I want to highlight a couple things that I think are really important for us, and then we can get into it however you guys want to. However we want to handle the questions. So first and foremost, hopefully you all saw the graduation success rate of our student athletes, 93%, continuing to do that at an incredibly high level. That will always be the standard here. I'm so proud of our athletes. I think that in this day and age, there's so much coming their way, and they're still absolutely crushing it in the classroom. 13 of our teams had the perfect GSR. We just found out, I think yesterday, 4 women's soccer players were academic All-Americans. One of our male soccer players was an academic All-American, and then we're waiting on the other fall sports to come through. So I'm just really proud of them. Football had a program record of 93% GSR. So they're as we talk about competition and what's happening all around us, and it's great. And, we'll talk about team achievements. I think that is a true testament to how hard our student athletes work, both in and out of the classroom. Team achievements, we had 10 teams currently ranked right now, whether it's their current rankings or at the end of the season. Our men's soccer team, I'm so proud of those guys, and Jeff and the team. They won the Big Ten championship in men's soccer. We had women's cross country, women's cross country got to the NCAA championships, men's cross country to the NCAA regionals. Women's soccer in the round of 8, the Elite 8, had a tough game against Clemson. Women's volleyball just finished up in the Sweet 16, and obviously we all know that we're going to the Chick-fil-A Bowl. So I'm proud of all of our athletes this fall. They did a great job. And I just came over from a 30-point win in women's hoops. Keegs team's playing really well right now, but that was a great. Shea just dropped 40, which is anytime you score 40 is impressive. So I'm proud of what they're doing over there as well. Our athletes. One of the reasons why I want to bring this up too, and in the semester. Our athletes put in 3,200 hours into community service with our development and enrichment program, and so we're really, really well-rounded group. And I don't think that when we talk about the 31 teams, I think that's so important to talk about how everybody is doing everything the right way, and I'm so proud of them. We talk about some of the things just from you all know hopefully how important sport performance, health and wellness is to me. We've added 2 full-time athletic performance coaches, kind of decreased the load that we had. When you have 833 athletes, we got to continue to focus on all of our sports. We've added those positions over the semester. We've converted 4 part-time trainers to full-time. So now we have a better. I feel better about our grasp on all 31 teams there. And then I'm proud of what we've experienced with the 4 clinical psychologists. Has been amazing. And it's been really remarkable how well they've adapted, and our athletes have adapted to the challenges and being open and honest with themselves and with our clinical professionals. We're also working now to adding our sports performance portion to that. But my priority 18 months ago was we had to get the mental health stuff really figured out. So, I think we're in a good spot there, and we'll continue to evaluate and grow. And we've been very busy in the construction space, and then this will kind of I'll wrap it up here. Not only the monster projects that we have going on, but we've really invested a lot in nutrition stations. We have 5 nutrition stations being created or built. Those are not including the ones at Lash. That's there. Pagula, we have one now. Basically, every athlete has that. We're enhancing that, obviously, with Greenberg and the facility at Greenberg. But now, we're impacting all 833 of our student athletes from a nutrition standpoint that was not the case prior to us being here. And so we're very happy. Whether it's the White Building, multi-sport, East Area locker room, they all have up-to-date, modern, grab-and-go nutrition stations, which I think is incredibly important. Okay. So let's talk about just in May, obviously, projects went to the board, certain projects, obviously Beaver Stadium. Let me just, I'll talk about Beaver Stadium real quick. We're 30% into design of this building. This is like building a village. So I'm not trying to not answer any of your questions, but I haven't even briefed the board or Neely on where we are with Beaver Stadium. This is a major, major project. Literally 30% is like, where are the pipes going? Where do you got circulation? So I just, that one is ongoing. We feel really good about where we're headed, but literally we are looking at everything in this building, from the east concourse to the main concourse to bathrooms, to the west side, to the premium, there is not a thing we're not evaluating in this process. So I just want to head that off at the pass. But just as important, we're 75% through design with Greenberg, which will be our physical therapy, health and wellness recovery suite for all 833 athletes. It'll be the home of training table for all of our athletes. So we are close to finishing that up. We're finishing up the fundraising. Our goal is to have that ready to go in fall of 2025, try to break ground as we continue this momentum at some point in this summer. Jeffrey Field, you've heard me talk about it. We're 90% through that design. We feel really good. We're closing up on the finances, philanthropical and capital gifts there. It will have locker room, athletic training, strength training, team meeting rooms, office suite, concessions, locations, enhanced bathrooms, which will help us on game day as well in that corridor there. But we're really excited what that's going to look like. It's the way it should be for Erica and Jeff. When you have two nationally ranked and national championship caliber teams, they will have the facility those student athletes deserve. And I know you probably are noticing some construction over at Medler, though it's a little different, not truly our facility, if you will, but it's a phased construction project. We began with the playing surface, which I think Gambino put out there, and the play-by-play of that. We're upgrading the lights. We're putting the new scoreboard in with the spikes. We're working hand-in-hand with that. And then the next phases will include locker room, clubhouse, athletic training, indoor training area, and recovery spaces in joint partnership with the spikes. There, so that's been really good. And then finally, I don't know if I said the East Area locker room, where we run about 500 athletes through that space in that weight room. We are really close. That one's almost done. I think we're going to hopefully go out for CM soon. That will be an enhanced training table. An enhanced nutrition center, much improved sports performance area, much improved weight room, where that houses the two lacrosses of field hockey. That building is taking a total transformation, and we hope to start that actually here in January, February, if we can get things lined up, permit and all that. All right. I felt a little bit like James doing that.
Yeah, right?
All right.
We'll start with Mark, and then we'll go to Tyler.
Pat, we still haven't seen you and Andy in the same room together. Is it,
my man.
Hey,
doppelganger.
In all seriousness, James had expressed some concerns about the transfer portal, and the word he used was tampering. What recourse do schools have, and have you brought this up specifically among your fellow ADs and other leadership?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's everywhere now. And yes, we talk about it ad nauseum. I think it is, we say this, but it really is the wild, wild west right now. I'll give you a perfect example. We were in Las Vegas for Olu's award. He was nominated for the Campbell Trophy. And on our way there, we got an email of 8 athletes, one of which was our own, who was not in the portal, and an agent was saying, hey, are you interested in them? One of them was and is not in the portal, was just shopping athletes around. I was not very happy that that's happening, and went to the NCAA officials there and said, we shared it with them. So we're trying to kind of communicate everything that we see, but and it's hard because some people are showing it to you, some people aren't, and it's just a really difficult spot to be in, and they're putting the student athletes in a really tough spot too. But I do think we are, the tampering is real, and I had a conversation with someone the other day, and they said, listen, the rules that are being made are actually hurting the people that follow the rules, because everyone's trying to do what's right. And so I think James, now I'm proud of them, what they did with this class. I think they did an amazing job. He does a great job with that, and you guys can talk about that later today. But, yeah, it's real, and we try to just hand it over and say, here's what we're finding. And I got to believe the NCAA is getting inundated with it. But it is a topic all the way. I mean, everybody's talking about it. Coaches, ADs, everybody in the business.
Tyler, then Pickle.
Hey, Pat, how are you?
Good.
I think we've asked James a few times about how you have kind of handled the navigation of adding a coordinator or high-profile assistant coach. I'm curious, you just saw it twice in a one-month span. What does it look like when James Franklin, he called it a full-time job, he had 2 of them then. What if, as much as you can peel back the curtain in this setting, can you peel back the curtain?
Yeah, it's an interesting question, and it was like, what, 2 in 2 weeks? My guy, he is so prepared for these moments, which is a weird, right? Like, he just knows what I need. It's how he attacks everything. And it was great to go through this process with him because you just don't know, right? It's not I said this the other day, I'm here just to support him and help and be a sounding board. But very analytical. Starts with the analytics. What's the right fit and how to, the defensive coordinator, right? We're a 4-down team, and that's who we are, and that's where we've had success. So that's probably got to be a piece of it, right? I'm probably giving too much. He's probably going to be upset. Mm-hmm. Look at that. Look how upset KP is. But I do think he's very, very focused on that. And then you start with the big list, and you just start to wheel. And then it all becomes who's the right fit, who comes in this building and fits. I cannot express to you that building works at such a high level, and it is such a good group of people that he is never going to turn the keys over to someone that just doesn't fit in that building for whatever reason. And so it's very systematic. It's very thoughtful, all the things that you would assume. And then, when he makes this decision, he makes it, but he calls friends of people and gets different perspective. It's no different than how I handle head coaching searches. But he does it was really good to go through it with him. And he doesn't get fazed by, he has his process. It's like everything else, right? It's the 1-0, here's how we're going to handle it, and it's true to form in everything he does.
Pickle, then Ben.
Pat, you mentioned the Beaver Stadium project, but another one that you went to the board about was Lash and doing work on the second floor there. So have you started that yet, and what's your timeline for that?
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. Yeah, they're under construction there now. In fact, I was just over with James. James is moving his office out. Everyone's moving their offices. So once we head out here on Saturday, they'll start to really move on the construction. It's a great question on timetable. I don't know, KP. Do you know it's everything's probably around 12 to 18 months. Just honestly how it works. But we're
Summer.
Yeah, is it summer? Yeah. So, but that's actually starting. They're already doing prep work over there now. So yeah, they're moving offices and moving into temp space.
Ben, then Allie.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Wouldn't be a press conference without an NIL question. As the numbers fly around for what it takes to do roster retention, do you think it's good or sustainable for the sport to have effectively outsourced that budget to fans through collectives?
No, I don't. I think thankfully I'm only spending probably 30% of my time dealing with this NIL space, which was vastly different when I first got here. But no, I don't think that's the right way, and I think everybody would say that. I've said it repeatedly. This is the one area where we don't have. I can't help our kids in the way I want to help our student athletes, and it goes back to the tampering question and what's going on. And no, I don't think it's not the way it should be. So we'll see how it evolves, right? I think it's still evolving. I think we're right in the middle of this spinning world that we're in the NCAA, and I think it's just a matter of where it ends up.
Allie, then Neil.
Pat over here.
Hey.
Hey, going off tampering, NIL, all of that, there's a lot more people in college sports than there used to be. Different industries, people in general.
Right.
When you think about preserving a culture in an athletic department of this size with so many different voices, how do you go about doing that? Yeah. Because you can't completely avoid NIL or avoid those things.
Well, and it's not like you're trying to avoid NIL, but what you're trying, because look, we all believe in NIL. I think it's the right thing. Name, image, and likeness. Our athletes should be able to do that. When you play in front of 110,000 or you play in continued wrestling sellout crowds or Erica's teams who are elite. So I think that's it. Your point about culture is so important. It's why I love being the athletic director at Penn State, because I just rattle off all these things that our athletes have been able to do off the field, and our coaches are at a high level where that culture piece really is important. And I think you have to be really honest with your student athletes. You have to be honest with your process. Don't get caught up in all the other stuff, and find a way to continue to just do it the way that you believe can sustain. Because I don't think that's a sustainable model of just paying a player here, and because locker rooms are challenging, and you're hearing from everybody. You hit it on the head. There's always another thing out there that someone else has started another agency. Someone else has started, and you got to run all those leads down. You got to, but I think I believe with my 833 student athletes and our coaches that we have a place that hopefully they can be honest with us. Hopefully they feel that there's trust, and that we're building a culture that we're all in it together. And I think that communication is such an important piece to it, like any other organization. And so it's a challenge. There's a lot of people trying to infiltrate that. And I think James does a remarkable job. I think all of our coaches, really, Kale, everybody does a remarkable job of trying to do that. And you can't bat 1,000, but I think that culture piece that you reference is so important. And that's why I love being here, because there's no undue pressure. You just do it the right way. Take your time. Do it the right way. Get the right. We have everything that you can recruit the best. It's been proven. So, yeah, I think that culture piece is so important.
Neil and then Ryan.
Hey, Pat.
Hey.
You have a Super Bowl ring there? Or what?
Oh, ho hum. This is just my wrestling national championship ring,
okay.
Of which I had nothing to do with. I was along for the ride. I thank Kale and the boys.
James made his comments last week about the tampering and whatnot, and Chip Kelly had a little video, and it seems that a lot of high-profile people in college football are screaming for leadership. What is the next step for ADs and commissioners to be working? Can you work with the NCAA, or is it just independent of that?
No. Yeah, I think you are seeing it, which goes back to that question of like everybody's feeling it, right? We in the Big Ten is, and Tony's done a really good job. Sometimes it's nice to have an outside set of eyes on some of the issues that we've been ingrained with forever. I think Governor Baker's trying his hardest to figure it out and work through it. We have to work with them. Tony has done a really good job of working behind the scenes with the other commissioners. I think it's not as easy to solve as I think we all know, but we know we have to fix it. This just can't, it's not sustainable, and it's not the right course of action. And so what that is, I think we could I mean, honestly, like, that is, as much as the time here on campus has kind of, talking about NIL and the collectives as well, nationally it's become, in our national meetings, like a real priority. And so basically, to answer your question, yes, we're all working at every angle. You see the work that the commissioners are meeting with Congress and trying to get everybody involved to say, okay, I think we've had enough. How do we address it? And there's just so many layers to it, though. And so that becomes an inherent challenge. And we're living through it, right? We're living through the real-time life of this whole kind of chaos, which is hard.
Brian and then Johnny.
Hey, Pat, over here in the back. With the Beaver Stadium renovations, have you guys discussed the possibility of maybe having an outdoor hockey game there? And have you maybe inquired with the NHL about maybe bringing a Winter Classic to Beaver Stadium when all's said and done?
100%. Well, yes. Now, the winterization is occurring as we speak. So that was kind of ongoing. So from that perspective, from the renovation, we should be good. We're going to be good with that. As you can see with Luke Combs, like, we have to use this building more. I would sign up right here for a hockey game in this building, today. Like everything else, just takes a lot of moving parts and working with the NHL. But I think there's a great opportunity to do that. Yes, and we're open. They know we're open to it. But we've got to continue to use this building to generate revenue. And look at it. I've told you I love this building. I think it's time that we open the doors and do. We did some yoga. We did Lion King. We're going to continue to do different ideas like that. I think Luke Combs, though, is the biggest example of what we're trying to lean into. There's other things outside of just hockey that I'm not yet privy to tell you. I'm very transparent, but it's not done. I'm a 0-0 on the clock guy when it comes to these contracts. But we're trying to get others engaged. And remember, you got to have a special event to sell this building. Like, it's just not for everybody. And there's certain events that you could handle the volume of this building, right?
Johnny, then Smeltzer.
Yeah, Pat, right here in the middle.
Where we were.
Off to your right,
Oh,
sorry.
there it is.
So not in the middle. You talked about the coordinators earlier. With Andy specifically, a guy coming from Kansas in a really secure situation there with his contract and a reported decent buyout. I guess, what does that say about you guys with where you're at right now that you're able to lure a guy like that out of a pretty comfortable situation and get him here?
Yeah, I mean, it's Penn State football. I hate to just be that bold. I think honestly, I think it's a testament to who we have in that building, starting with James, but the athletes and the student athletes that we have in there that you want to come in there, you're like, oh, I'll work with that group. I'll go, see if I can help them. And he was with Lance for a long time. But his story is great. I had heard that story about the helmet, and I too ran into trees with my head. So we are very similar. But I do think it just shows where we are. Like we are a top 10 program. We are fighting to win a national championship, and we are going to. That is our focus. We're going to continue to focus. We're going to hire the best people to do that. And I think, I hope Andy saw that in the process and saw that this was a great opportunity for him. And when you start to get around our James's team, meaning staff and players, you're like, oh yeah, that's special. And so, they did everything they could, and we're just really happy that it worked out. He's a great fit, though.
Smeltzer, then Ben.
Pat, I know this year isn't over yet, but with your first full calendar year about to wrap up as Penn State's AD, how would you say things have gone from a personal standpoint, and what are you going to be taking away into 2024?
Personally, I love it. My kids love school, which they don't get that from their father. But they do. We love Happy Valley. It's an amazing place. I'm not just saying that. We truly, my wife, Betsy, and being in the community, it really was a game changer for us to be in our house. That helped us kind of get out of the rental and establish our kind of roots and being engaged and everything in town. But we really do love it. It's just we have so much to accomplish professionally that my staff would know this, KP in particular. Like, I'm a grinder. Like, I see what we can achieve every single day here. I get goosebumps putting on the Penn State gear. And so, like, I just can't stop. Like, I just can't. Like, and that's 31 deep. We were on a golf call last night. Like, we got all these projects going, and we're talking about other projects for golf. And I'm talking about what we can do to enhance wrestling, and what can we do to enhance track and field, and because you can feel it. Like, you can see we can win, and we can achieve so many incredible things that I think you all deserve, that our alums deserve. And it's like, there's no ceiling here. And so for me, it's so exciting. But you got to work within the process that's in front of you, which is like anywhere. And so I think it's been really, really exciting. I mean, I floated for 2 weeks after winning the Rose Bowl as a Big Ten kid to win the Rose Bowl. I never thought I'd do that. And, being around Cale Sanderson and our wrestling program, like, it's amazing. And having the good fortune to be with our student athletes, which is the best piece, and going on this journey, 3 Final Fours last year, and being able to help them with some of the stuff that we're doing is really been an amazing thing. So I'm very energized. I'm excited about our future. I truly believe we haven't even gotten started yet. I think it takes 2 years really to get the foundation established, where people aren't like tiptoeing around me like, they probably still do that. KP still does. But I think we're starting to really get into a stride to really get to where we go. So I appreciate the question. It's every day is, and you know what I will say? It's bigger than I thought. I don't know if I said this before, but like, you go on the road and I don't care what sport, and you see Penn State and Nittany Nation there. I mean, like at football games, and like, I knew it was big. I knew it was a passionate base, but it is bigger. I tell people all the time, like, I'm like, you have no idea what we do for 7 days. Not me, but what our team does to put on the events for 7 football Saturdays here is short of miraculous. And to have as many people come in and to be passionate, win or lose. I would rather have everybody passionate. Is truly an incredible thing. And this building, I actually have goosebumps now. This building, when this football season was just, and I don't know how that ever gets old. And I tell everyone, Nick knows this, like, don't take this for granted, because there's a lot of people that want to be where we are. And so it's very special. The whole thing is very special to me.
We'll go last question to Ben.
I wouldn't underestimate KP, by the way. That's how you get
That's true.
texts at odd hours of the night.
Don't worry.
From a football perspective, you could argue that all 4 teams joining the Big Ten are closer to you than not. The repercussions of that fact for you are
Insignificant. I don't care. I'm worried about one thing: us. We control our own fate. They are. That's not disparaging them at all. It's just, what am I what are you gonna do? Gotta get better. It's like, it's a Penn State thing. It's not an Oregon thing. It ain't UCLA. It ain't about SC. It ain't about Washington. It's a Penn State thing. And we got to be Penn State. And that's going back to your question. We can win the whole thing. We just got to keep focusing on doing what's right for us. And it's dealing with all of this that's going around, and deal with the culture issue that you talk about, and continuing to bring the right kids that want to run through a wall and fight through it and are passionate like we have. So and that's not, I'm not making that up. I don't lose sleep over them. I may have if I was in other jobs, not here. And that's, by the way, it's not just a football thing. Baseball's gotten a lot better. Basketball's going to get, volleyball's, all of our sports, soccer is going to get more challenging. Okay, I'm at Penn State. We'll have 31 deep. We'll just keep getting better. But all of these things I mentioned to you have to get done. We have to get all of these, the nutrition, the travel, the mental health support, the physical support, all of those things have to get done, or we won't be able to achieve what we want to do. That's why I'm so aggressive in getting all this to get it ready so that we can attack those, because they're coming, and it's going to be a different day, one that we're all excited about.
Thank you very much, Pat.
Thanks, everyone. Hey, I appreciate y'all. I know you go everywhere. I know it's not easy, but I get it, and I do appreciate you, because here is like no other place, and I know KP makes it hard on you. But I do hope you have a wonderful holiday season. Those of you in the Atlanta, I hope to see you. But thank you very much for what you all do. It really is truly important, okay? So thanks. Have a great holiday, everyone.
Coach will be in momentarily.
Who's next? Oh.